2015 Range Rover Evoque. Is it just a stylish little crossover, or is there something more? Well, let's take a look at this example and find out. Like I said, this is a 2015 Land Rover Range Rover Evoque. This one is more of a basic trim, but it does have quite a few options on it. The reason I am driving this is because our Range Rover Sport is in Dallas for some service and being detailed. And so they gave us this as a loaner vehicle. So let's go ahead and check out the interior and the exterior and go over the features, and we'll take it on a test drive and go over what I like and what I don't like. So anyways, here's the key for the Range Rover Evoque. Standard Range Rover key. You can see this one is wrapped in a Range Rover key glove. It does have the Land Rover badge. It's the standard Range Rover key, just like ours. Up underneath you have your locking, unlocking, headlights, power tailgate, and your panic functions. So we'll go ahead and unlock it and we'll check out the inside. So one of the first things you notice that when you open the door of the Range Rover Evoque is how sturdy the doors feel, but look how big they are. Very, very thick doors, and this thing feels like it's built like a bank vault. So stepping in, this one does have a tan and brown leather interior. No perforated seats on this one. That is an option on higher trim models though. And then to start, as with any smart key vehicle, put your foot on the brake and hit the engine start button to go. And you'll see the gauges do a nice little sweep there. So we'll go ahead and turn on the automatic HID headlamps, your LED front fog lamps and rear fog lamps, as well as the hazards. And we'll check out the exterior. And we'll turn off the stereo. Alright, so coming to the front of the Range Rover Evoque, I think this might be my favorite view of the Evoque right here, because it conveys what this vehicle is. It is a stylish and just a cool little crossover. Starting with the front end, you can see you do have your bi-xenon HID headlamps with your halogen turn signals down along the side, as well as your LED daytime running lamps. You can see those there, and wrapping up in there. Those are on when the vehicle is in drive or reverse. And you have your LED fog lamps down below. Typical Range Rover front end, this one's just a little more rounded off than the Sport. And everything's just a little smaller. This is a baby Range Rover Sport, if you will. Even though the Range Rover Sport came after the Evoque, this is just, it reminds me a lot of our car, just smaller. Like I said, bi-xenon HIDs with your halogen turn signals right there. Coming around, you do have LED mirror mounted turn signals, and this one does have a surround view camera system, as you can see right there. There's a little camera eye right there. There's also one in each mirror and one on the back corners as well. Unfortunately, this one does have a pretty nice sized dent right there. I'm not really sure where that came from. It was on it when we got it. Coming to the rims, we have 235/55 R19s. I think these wheels look a little small on this one, but it does add to the ride comfort. They are Goodyear efficient grip tires. They're actually really good. I've driven them on dirt roads and stuff like that, and it does just fine. Coming along the side, you can see you do have a gray accent line matching your hood vent right there. Your fuel filler door is on this side. This one is the 4-door model. Smart key access is on all 4-door handles, by the way. Like I said, 19-inch rims with the Goodyear efficient grip tires. These are good looking rims. I just wish they were a little bit bigger, but that's just personal preference. So coming around to the rear, this is also a pretty nice view of the Evoque as well, this right here. It just has a lot of character lines. You can see those two distinct character lines running down the side, wrapping around the back. It's just a very edgy yet flowy vehicle. I'm not really sure how they pulled it off, but they did a really good job. You do have your LED tail lamps right there with your halogen turn signals and your halogen reverse lights in the middle. There's your rear fog lamps. You do have dual exhaust outlets. Sounds pretty good for a 4-cylinder. Your Range Rover and Evoque badges right there. And as with any Range Rover, your rear wiper hides up there. We'll go ahead and take a look at the cargo bay while we're back here. It does have a power liftgate, which I really like, with a detachable cargo cover as well. You can just undo it here and down here on each side, and it will, you can just pull that out if you don't want it. There's a decent amount of cargo room back here. It's not huge, but it's definitely very usable space. You could get a couple of pretty large suitcases back here, I would imagine. Folding this up does reveal your temporary Continental spare tire, but it is a donut. You also have 4 tie-down hooks, 2 on each side, as well as a 12-volt power outlet. And pulling this panel back reveals a fuse panel. You also have your mountings for your child safety seats right there. And then to close, just push that button and it takes care of the rest. So you can probably hear the little growl from the exhaust. And like I said, it doesn't sound bad, but it is still a 4-cylinder, so there's not a whole lot they can do. We'll go ahead and check out the back seat space. Coming to the back seat, this is where I have the seat to drive. I'm about 6 feet tall, and I have enough room back here just. My feet are a little squished up under the seat. My knees aren't touching, but if it didn't have this cutout, they definitely would be. Rear seats are heated. You also have your climate control vents right there. Of course, this one being a loaner isn't exactly the cleanest thing. I washed the outside, but I didn't clean up the inside. You also have Range Rover floor mats down there. Rear seats do also fold down to give you a flat load bay. You just push that pin right there, and they fold flat just like so. So if you ever needed to carry larger items and you didn't have kids with you, that would be the way to do it. And then they just latch back into place. Pulling this down reveals your leather stitched armrest with a little storage tray in there, as well as dual cup holders. Kind of shallow on the cup holders though. And it is a 3-seater. 2 people could fit back here comfortably. It would be tight for 3. Headroom really isn't too bad. Like I said, I'm about 6 feet tall, and with the panoramic sunroof, I do have plenty of headroom. And a great view out as well. I really like this panoramic roof. It is fixed though. I believe an opening panoramic roof is an option. There's your close hooks right here, your interior lighting for the rear seats. You can turn it off like this, set it to door, or turn it on if you need it as a reading lamp. So we'll go ahead and hop out of the back seat. But while we're here, we'll go ahead and talk about door materials back here. Everything is fairly well padded. It's a kind of a rubbery material over some hard plastic, but there is a decent amount of padding, and this is also kind of that same rubbery material with a leather stitched armrest and your automatic up and down rear window. You do have a little storage pocket right there, but this is all hard plastic. Everything from here down, they switched to a cheaper, harder plastic, but it still feels pretty good as far as hard plastic materials go. I'm not complaining with it at all. So we'll go ahead and hop into the front seat and check out all the features up here, of which there are many. Like I said, this one has a lot of options. We'll go ahead and kill the hazards and headlights. So closing the door, you get a very nice wump, very solid. You can see that this one does have blind spot warning, as indicated by the little light right there. Leather wrapped steering wheel. It is also heated, and heated steering wheel works very well. All your multifunction controls for your telephone, your cruise control right here. This controls your center display. This 4 arrow and OK, that's how you go through all the vehicle settings, and this is all your multimedia controls. It does have steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. They are illuminated at nighttime too, which is really nice. Here's your turn signal stalk right here, as well as your automatic wipers, with your rear wiper being a little twist knob on the end. Coming to the center display, this is pretty typical Jaguar Land Rover stuff. You've all seen this before. This is the exact same thing that's in our Land Rover. It's the exact same thing that was in our Jaguar, except sped up a little bit. So you're all pretty familiar with that. Very basic buttons on the side. Pretty easy to use, but it is starting to feel a little antiquated. You do have stitched, whatever this material is right up here. I'm not really sure exactly what it is. It's a very funny graining, but it is functional, and it looks like leather, and it's nice to touch. Same material up here, except this is brown up on top. You also have an automatic dimming rear view mirror with your call for assist and SOS right there. Here's your power sunshade for the panoramic sunroof. Sunglasses storage up there. You do have a mirror and vanity light right up here. You also have 3-person memory for your garage home link. We just don't have it programmed, obviously, because this is a loaner. Coming back down, you have your dual zone automatic climate control, temperature, fan speed, temperature. Your different zones are all around here, and your heated seat is located right there in the middle. Just push that. You also have a power parking brake right here. Pull up to activate, and then put your foot on the brake and push down to deactivate. So basically, you have hill descent control right here, your eco mode, which is auto start stop, which I always disable. I'm not a big fan of that, and traction control. And here is your gear selector for your 9-speed automatic transmission. And when you put the vehicle in reverse, it does reveal a reverse backup camera. And you also have your sport mode, and to access sport mode, you push down and twist to the right. Same exact thing as the Jaguar. And once you put it in sport mode, you can access the paddle shifters, and you get a shift indicator right up there. And then back to park. Right here is your terrain response system. You have your normal mode, your grass, gravel, and snow right up here, and it also gives you a display right up there to tell you what mode you're in. You have your mud and ruts mode right here, and your sand mode right there. So, and it does actually do things. It doesn't do quite as much as our Range Rover Sport, but it is actually useful in this. It changes shift points and throttle response and stuff like that. So moving on down here, you do have a cover for your cup holders, and you have a 12-volt power outlet right there. It just slides back there. It is also a sliding armrest, so that can extend forward if you so desire. Still leaving your one cup holder and your 12-volt power outlet available. But if you need both cup holders, just slide it back. Opening up the center console reveals 2 USBs, an auxiliary input, as well as another 12-volt power outlet. It is all felt lined. And then there's some sticky stuff right there. Probably spilled soda or something like that. Moving up to the gauges in the Range Rover Evoque, I really like what they do with their gauges. Very easy to read. You get your digital speedo down here, your fuel gauge right there, engine temperature, speedometer over here, and tach right there. Go ahead and give it a few revs from the inside. Like I said, it makes a pretty good noise. It sounds better when you're actually driving and the engine's under load. There's a good bit of induction noise from it. Coming down to the glove box, it is a very large glove box, and it is all felt lined. And you have your owner's manual pocket right up here, which the owner's manual is not in this one. But I do like how they hid that away. And one thing I will mention is everything from here down is a harder plastic. Hard plastic down here as well as down here. But you do have brushed aluminum trim up here, which looks very nice. As far as door materials from the rear, everything up here is exactly the same. Stitched leather. You have your padded rubberized material, 3-person memory right here, power door locks, power windows, power mirrors, power folding mirrors. You just hold these 2 buttons down, and you can see they go just like that. They also automatically fold when the vehicle is locked. Power window locks as well. You do have your speakers in the door. This one does have the upgraded Meridian stereo, which I can say is significantly better than the one in our Range Rover Sport that does not have the Meridian. You have a little tweeter right up there. And then you have your padded material. Actually, I told a story. All of this right here on the front doors is hard plastic. Everything from the brown down is a harder plastic material, which I'm not really sure why they did that. Interesting. I guess it's the same way in the back, but I wish they would have at least made this soft to the touch. They could have done a little better there, but that's just nitpicking. So we'll go ahead and get some cameras set up and take it for a test drive and go over what I like and what I don't. Alright guys, so we'll go ahead and get started with the test drive portion of the video. So, when you get in, the shifter rises up just like our Jaguar did. Disable that eco mode because that drives me nuts. So one of the first things that you'll notice when you set off in the Evoque is how easy it is to see out of, surprisingly. A very good visibility for a very sportily designed vehicle. So while we're going down this hill, I'll take a chance to demonstrate the hill descent control. So just press the hill descent control button, keep your foot off the brake, and it takes care of all of it for you. Same as our Range Rover Sport, you get a little green indicator in the speedometer, and you also get a little indicator right up there in the gauges. Of course, if you put your foot on the gas, it disables it, but the second you take your foot off the gas, it starts bringing it back down to what it thinks is the ideal speed. Pretty cool system. And then just go ahead and disable that there. And I have a list put together, so if you see me looking at my phone, I'm not texting and driving. I'm just making sure I don't get off track. Alright, so we'll start with what I do like about the Range Rover Evoque. And my first and probably my biggest praise for this car is the looks. This is a phenomenal looking SUV. It has so much character and so much style, which I can't really say that a lot of crossovers these days do. This is probably the most stylish crossover on the market, without a doubt. We'll go ahead and pop it in sport mode as well as manual shift mode and put our foot down. That was a run to about 65 miles an hour, and as you could probably tell, this thing is not what I would call slow. It's got pretty good power, and the engine makes a pretty good noise too. I'm sure they have a lot of induction noise being piped in through the firewall like they do with my Fusion. It sounds really cool. I like the way it sounds. You get a lot of whoosh and just really cool induction noises. So, like I said, this is probably the best looking range or crossover on the market, but it's probably also one of the least practical, I'm afraid to say. Of course, with this abundant styling, you take a hit when it comes to visibility and practicality. The back seat's not all that large, and it doesn't have the most cargo room out of the luxury crossovers for sure. But I would probably still pick this just because it looks cool. So like I said, engine sounds good, has pretty good power. Another thing about this car is the ride comfort. This thing rides so well for a short wheelbase and off-road geared SUV. It rides considerably smoother than our Range Rover Sport. Of course, ours has 22-inch rims, these are 19s, so that probably has a lot to do with it. But this one also doesn't have an active air suspension like our car does. So it rides very well, very composed. And in addition to ride comfort, seat comfort. These front seats are so comfortable. If you've seen my Range Rover Sport review, you probably heard me say that the seat cushions feel a little narrow on it for someone of wider stature. But these don't. These are just the right size and feel very well suited to any kind of body type. Whereas the Range Rover Sport, you kind of need to be a smaller framed individual in order to feel like those seats aren't trying to squish you. So seats are extremely comfortable in this one. And moving on, interior design and materials are really good in this Range Rover. It has a Range Rover badge on it. Yeah, it's a cheap Range Rover. This one's probably 50 grand or so. I don't know. It doesn't have the window sticker in it. But so it's not a cheap vehicle, but it is the cheapest Range Rover you can buy. But it still feels like a Range Rover. You've got great leather on the steering wheel. All the interior materials are great. I mean, there is a few things that I feel like they could have done a little bit better. But overall, this thing is just extremely well put together with great materials. You've got brushed aluminum everywhere, and it is real aluminum. This is real metal. Down here is real metal. If it looks like it, it is. Door handles are real metal. It's just got great build quality in here. I don't feel like they've purposefully made this cheap so the Range Rover Sport or the big Range Rover can have all the luxury. I feel like that they actually put the Range Rover-ness in this Range Rover. Like I said, surprisingly good visibility. The back window, I mean, it's a little narrow, but it works well with what it has, and the side mirrors are huge, so you don't really have to worry about blind spots. You've got your blind spot monitoring system, and the little quarter windows in the back also help. So I really like the gear selector too. It's the exact same one that was in our Jag, and I always liked it, and this one is no exception. It just feels really intuitive and easy to use, and I like how it hides when the car is off. The gauges as well in this car, you heard me mention when I was doing the tour part of this video, you can go. The gauges are absolutely wonderful. I love how they're LED backlit. The needles are nice and thin, just very precise and very easy to read, and I really like the little multimedia display there in the middle too. So the infotainment system, it's very familiar to me by now. It's the exact same system that was in our 2012 Jag XF. This one's sped up considerably, and the navigation is a little more updated, obviously. But for me, it's easy to use. There are a lot of sub-menus, so for somebody getting into it that isn't used to a Jaguar Land Rover vehicle, it might be a little overwhelming at first until you get used to it, but it's not bad. It works just fine. I don't really have any complaints with it. The Meridian stereo in this one, and that's part of what I do like and what I don't like. Yes, it sounds considerably better than the one in our Range Rover Sport without the Meridian stereo, but it's not like, I still think my Fusion has a better stereo than what this is, and y'all can fight that all you want, but my ears are my ears and my opinion's my opinion, and I'm gonna voice it. So I don't feel like this stereo is worth near as much as what they charge for it. But it is a very good stereo nonetheless. Very clear, very crisp, lots of bass, and it doesn't feel like it's being drowned out by any particular sound either. Just all very well done. I like the power liftgate a lot. Like I said, they put a lot of the luxury features in here, and I'm glad that they did, and the power liftgate is what falls under that category. The features availability on this thing, it's unreal. Like, the only thing that this does not have that our Range Rover Sport has is the cooled seats. Other than that, equipment wise, this has it all. Navigation, blind spot warning, heated seats, like I said, no cooled seats, heated steering wheel, power liftgate, the terrain response system, it feels like a Range Rover. And I know I say that a lot, but I just can't convey enough how it doesn't feel like they skimped on this thing. It is an older platform. It's based off the old LR3 or LR2 or whatever that thing is, whatever the ugly one is. It's based off the old baby Range Rover or Land Rover, but it's not bad. It feels like a new vehicle, and it feels like modern Jaguar Land Rover vehicles should. Heated steering wheel is really nice to have. The handling in this thing, it handles so well. I took that corner a little bit quicker than what I should have, and it did just fine. I mean, yeah, it body rolls a little bit because it doesn't have the active suspension like the Range Rover Sport, but for just standard shocks and struts and springs, this thing handles phenomenally. The steering, extremely tight, extremely responsive. It feels very sporty, and I like that a lot. That's probably one of the most enjoyable features with this Range Rover for me. It's just really sporty feeling, and I like it a lot. The terrain response and all-time all-wheel drive, I really like the security of that. So that's pretty much all that this vehicle has, I like. But I will go ahead and start nitpicking a little bit, and move on to the things that I don't like. It does feel a little underpowered sometimes. This isn't a very big engine, and it's not pushing tons of power. I know you can tune these things and make pretty decent power out of them, but from the factory it does feel a little lacking. There's a little bit left to be desired. So if they were to just up the boost on this a little bit, it will be fine. And the throttle dampening on this car, that is probably by far my biggest complaint. I will demonstrate right now. My foot is all the way down, and now it goes. That's not turbo lag. That is definitely not turbo lag. There's a little bit of turbo lag in there, but not all of that is, because it feels absolutely dead when your foot is on the floor, and then all of a sudden it just springs to life. A little bit of that is turbo lag, and I know you can tune turbo lag out a little bit, but you can definitely tune out throttle dampening, and that would probably be one of the first things I'd want to do with this thing if I had it as my own personal vehicle. Because if I'm at a stoplight and I need to put my foot down and get myself out of a dangerous situation, I want to know that I can. And with this, you better have room to get out of the way, because the way that they have it tuned with the throttle dampening, it's a little disconcerting sometimes. You feel like, where's the power? And then all of a sudden, here it comes. When I put my foot down, I want my car to give me all it's got. Not let the computer decide, oh, maybe I should just wait a little bit and then put the power down. No, if my foot's on the floor, that means I want power, and I want it now. So that's my rant over about that. And the transmission on this one does tend to feel a little indecisive. It's got a lot of gears, and it's got a lot of thinking to do. I wish they would have put the 8-speed unit that's in this. I wish they would have put that in, or I wish they would have put the 8-speed unit that's in our Range Rover in this. It's a lot quicker to respond and a little less jerky. Lastly, the wheels on this one are a tiny bit small. It feels they look a little small. If they were 20s, it would be fine. But it's not bad. These wheels, of course, add to the ride comfort, so I don't know. I don't know if I would probably pick bigger wheels, but that's just me. So wrapping all this up, the Range Rover Evoque is a phenomenal little crossover. I absolutely adore it, and I'm really gonna miss it. That's not to say I don't like our car, because I do, but this has just so much character. It's just so different from every other little crossover, and it's got so much charm and so much character, and I absolutely love that. I would buy one in a heartbeat. Maybe on down the line, they could do a Range Rover Evoque SVR and put the 3-liter supercharged V6 in it. That would be absolutely ridiculous, and I would love every bit of it. But this, as it is an extremely well done vehicle, and I wouldn't hesitate to buy one if I had the funds in a heartbeat. So anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this review. I hope it's given you a little insight to the Range Rover Evoque. If you're in the market for a small SUV, go check it out. Do yourself a favor. So anyways, we'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching, and take care, everybody.